How's it going, folks? Taylor Wachowski here. I was going to have an update video for you guys about Zeus, so you can see how he's progressing in his reactivity with other dogs. Now, he's actually come a long way, but being the perfect camera person I am, the only shots I managed to get on my GoPro were of the ground. So instead of trying to scrap that together and giving you just a bunch of really messed up footage, I decided to reshoot it using my own dog, Adonis. Now, obviously, he's not reactive, but I'm going to show you the exact same method I used with Zeus to get him to not react around other animals. Now, he was in an off-leash area, a fenced-in area, so if you're going to do this with your own dog, make sure that you're in a fenced-in area, or if you're going to do it in an area that's not fenced in, keep your dog on a long line for safety. So I'm going to show you step by step exactly what I did with Zeus. Very, very simple. Anytime he happens to look away from whatever he's reacting to, I would just mark and reward. He can go anywhere he'd like, do whatever he'd like, and as soon as he looks away from that stimulus, he gets a reward. Meaning, I'm trying to associate that I am better than anything in this environment. Now, since it is very windy and rainy outside here in Washington, I'm going to be working indoors, which is exactly where you should start if you have a very reactive dog. You start indoors, then you work to the backyard, on and off leash. Make sure you work your dog on and off leash because you want them to be able to be conditioned to both situations. You want them to be able to handle that just fine. If you have a dog that you only work off leash in the backyard, great. Take them and practice it on leash in the backyard, and then move to the front yard where they can only be on leash if it's not fenced in. Either way, you want your dog to be comfortable working and listening to you in both situations where they can be off the lead and on the lead and they don't feel panicked. They don't go into that fight or flight situation of the opposition reflex. If you wish to follow along, feel free. You will need some treats, a treat pouch of some sort, something to hold your treats, a clicker, which is optional, your dog, and a leash if you're going to be outside. Now we're going to be starting indoors. Of course, if you're starting this from scratch, start indoors. When your dog is very reliable indoors, work your way out to the backyard where there's a few more stimuli, a few more distractions, but it's not horrible. Then you work your way to the front yard, down the street, to a local park where there's not a whole lot of stimuli, so on and so forth. You work your way. The slow way is the fast way. Make sure that you're not pushing your dog. If your dog reacts to anything, you're working too fast, so go back to an area where there's less distractions, get your dog really reliable there, and then move on. This is a process, not an event, so don't rush your dog. Any little bit of success you get, you're going to want to go forward more and throw them into more distractions. Trust me, that's not a good idea. It's just human nature. We get a little bit, we get an inch, we want to take a mile. Don't do that. Go nice and slow. If you get that and you get your dog focusing on you, stay there. Stay there for a good while. If I'm sitting with Zeus or any other dog that is reactive in a park, we stay there for the whole lesson. That could be 45 minutes, that could be an hour or more. I stay in that one little area moving around, and we stay there and we get that behavior down pat. Where he's looking at me, that's just second nature. He looks at me, he can look over here, he comes back and looks at me, he gets a reward. Make sure that you keep that behavior muscle memory. So, if you're ready and you want to join along, then let's get started. Good boy. Alright, don't mind me. I'm in my yoga pants, trying to be nice and comfortable. And at the same time, I'm just working with Adonis. So, although we're inside, practice it just the same you would inside, the backyard, the front yard, anywhere else. So I'm just giving him little bits of, this is Hermes food. So I'm just using it as a little snack, something very high value. He always goes after it. It's just cat food. So I'm just giving him a little treat here and there. Now as he's looking outside, you can use that as an example where he's not barking, but he is looking. I can give him a reward. Now the rate of reinforcement that I'm giving Adonis now is very high, which is what you want to do. You want your dog to remain nice and calm and focused on you, or at least not focusing on the distraction. You can have them look at you. You can have them just look away from the reaction, or the distraction rather. So if I'm just sitting here like this with him, and say he's looking at, sees a fuzz, say he's, getting distracted by something, say there's, other dogs, now inside the house, he has nothing really to distract him other than just looking at me. So I'm going to keep my hand back here, maybe wait for him, good boy, wait for him to look at me, give me eye contact. He can look in my general direction. You make it very, very easy in the beginning, and then you kind of increase what you're looking for, the behavior. You make it very easy in the beginning, and then you increase that behavior, or the amount of time they give you that behavior over time. So all this time he's just, you know, looking at me, he's looking outside. He can look at anything he wants for as long as he wants. You know, so long as he's not reacting. If he's, you know, reacting, he's barking at something, he's scaring something down, then you're too close to that distraction. You need to move back a little bit. Literally increase that amount of space between you and the distraction. I mean, you know, you can pull the blinds here. He can see outside. There's just the neighbor over there. Nobody's outside. And I'm just sitting here and rewarding him. It looks like I'm rewarding for nothing, when that's kind of the idea, is you're rewarding for, I guess, in your mind, nothing, but for the dog, it's not reacting. You know, we're not barking, we're not screaming, we're not trying to go after the neighbor's dog or anything like that. So try again standing up, because I'm going to try in different positions. I can stand over here. Sorry, you good boy. So now he's focused on me. I can hide my hand behind my back. Again, he's just kind of focused on me. You can move around, do this inside the house, do this outside. This is just to give you an example of the amount of reinforcement that you give your dog. This is exactly what I was doing for Zeus. Easy, you. When we were in the outdoor area at Noah, the animal rescue he came from, we were just in this little fenced-in area. He could go look at whatever he wanted to. You know, he could go look and bark, and then he would come back, and when he would stay with me for a period of time, I would just continue to click randomly, you know, at a few second intervals, and give him another reward. He was free to go wherever he wanted. He's not, you know, I'm not holding a treat directly in front of his face constantly. I just had him in my little treat pouch, and I would just reward him after a few seconds for staying with me, and eventually he says, well, this is way better than any other distraction, any other dog out there. And even if he does go bark at the dog, you know, he'll stop a few seconds later and he'll come back to me. That's okay. We can work on him ignoring that dog entirely over time. In the beginning, though, if you're in your front yard, just sit there and start rewarding when there are no distractions. You don't want to wait for a distraction to correct your dog or start working with them. You want to start before then. Good boy. So you want your dog to look just like Adonis did, like he does now, like he did when I was just now training him and rewarding him. To him, it's just a freebie. He just gets a bunch of good treats. But he still, you know, is looking at me. He still gets a reward for that. So you start indoors, you start very slow, and just reward your dog for seemingly no reason, but really you're rewarding this behavior. You know, you get more of this behavior the more you reward it. You have to make a point of it. That's what reinforcement is, making a point to reward that behavior so it continues, increasing that behavior. Reinforcement is to increase a behavior. Good boy. Punishment is to decrease a behavior. We don't need to worry about decreasing the behavior by punishing it when we can increase it so easily by rewarding our dog. So, I hope that helps. I hope to have a better video next time of Zeus with less ground and sky and more of the actual training. I will be putting up a video of working with dogs that bark in the car as well. Adonis helped me with that earlier today when we were at the park, just chilling in the parking lot, and did a quick little video there. So I hope this helps. Of course, if you have questions, feel free to ask. Feel free to reach out. I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's anything else you would like to see, of course, feel free to let me know. And until then, stay positive.